Hello, this is Lee Daniel again, and I just wanted to come back to you again with the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey used to say. Now, when I was a child, my dad was very seriously troubled, is a good word, and he had an insane side to him concerning the Church of Christ that his parents had built in Moundsville, West Virginia, the Cedar Avenue Church of Christ. And they had paid for everything and run it all their lives, apparently, for the most part. My granddad was a county coroner, and he was a contractor, construction contractor, built homes. Then but my grandmother was a Rhine initially. That was her last name. And my granddad and the Rhine family were the two biggest families in the county, apparently, and they decided to arrange marriages for the children. My great-granddad did. So he decided that my granddad would marry my grandmother, Lucy Rhine, which was a very bad choice. She hated everybody and everything all of her life. She did her duty, and she was a matriarchal bitch from hell doing it. And her dedicated, absolute domination was that she was going to have a church built basically, almost following the story of Solomon, in that she was going to have a church built for herself. One way or another, somebody was going to build a church where that woman was going to run it. And she ran it like a matriarchal bitch from hell in a prison. There were no days when, apparently, from every story, there were no days when she greeted with smiles. She was that person on the front pew, first seat, that wiped every smile off of every face when they came in. She was a punisher of anybody that decided that they would not obey strictly what was said. In the Church of Christ in West Virginia hills and valleys, everywhere, is a domination. You damned well will do as you're told. Or that damned word is what you will receive. They, especially in that area, they operated spirits of Satan for everything they wanted. They apparently could not get anything out of the church to ever get them to the point that they wanted to be in their lives. The comfortable living. So they learned speaking in tongues, apparently. They learned other things that I'll get to in a minute. But my dad was seriously affected by this. He had never wanted to work. He was a mama's boy that never wanted to work in his life. He went to college. It was paid for. Apparently paid for. I never heard the story of it, how he got there or how he didn't. He was a minor athlete, you know, track and field type. No football, no basketball, anything like that, no scholarships. He was trained as a teacher, never became anything but a substitute teacher, and was an average student. He was apparently jealous of anybody and anything, and had a mania concerning his mother that was unbelievable. Somehow he got together with my mother and they were married. And when my mother found out what she had gotten herself into, it was too late. She was from the church across the river in Wheeling, West Virginia. The Methodist church who ran the county over there. And I think to this day that it was a contrived junk of my grandmother again to get her hands on the Methodist church and try to run it. But it didn't work, and my mother actually even tried to leave my dad. For that, my grandmother put her out on a farm by herself, 35 miles out of town and nowhere. And in that days, that was way out of town. And put her there for a year by herself. Took her a couple bags of groceries. My granddad took her a couple bags of groceries a month. Other than that, my dad and my damnable grandmother left her sitting there as punishment for even talking about leaving her beloved son and exposing all of the problems he had. She went from 135 pounds to 85 pounds, and they finally broke her will, and she came back, and she was an obedient wife to the very end of my dad's life. But every time she got a six-pack of beer, we all heard how much the underlying hatred was. I was an only child, so I caught it all. On one side I was mothered to death and smothered. On another side I was beaten on a daily basis over anything that my dad was aggravated about. And at 5 years old, when I refused to be ordained into and sacrificed over to the demonic part of his church and indoctrinated as a servant to the damn vile lord that they serve, he lost his mind over it. He literally lost his mind. My grandmother decided that it was better that I die than to be able to sin anymore against her church and her Lord. I also caught my dad praying to his two little men that appeared at the end of the bed one day, and scared the crap out of me. I mean, scared the life out of me. And them. We both took off running in different directions. They saw me crack the door, and they couldn't disappear fast enough that I didn't see them. My dad went literally mad. He went literal literally went insane and he beat me till I was unconscious, and then told me how I had to be, baptized into the church. He went mad. My mother threatened to kill him that day, and it finally stopped him. It scared him bad enough that she'd do it, that he finally backed off. And it was just literally the demon coming through my dad, because his eyes were coal black, and the insane thing that there had to be a cover-up. There had to be something had to be done right then before the truth of this was exposed, I guess. But it wasn't. Later on that same day, the demon appeared to me and threatened my life and some things like that, and I went running for my mother yelling Jesus, which was not a popular name in my house. Not at all. And later on, I also found out that my dad was into a lot of other things of divination and attempting to do magic things and all sorts of anything that he thought would get him into a pulpit somewhere so he never had to work again. He was made to go to the Army in World War II, which absolutely terrified him. He developed a tumor in his spine, and they had to operate, which evidently may have broken his mind, I don't know, in terror. He talked about how he was injured in the war, and all this one, in fact, that, how he had to be cut in half, and they took everything. They did surgery that removed the large tumor from his spine. Today, even back then, they did a lot of those things. They did a lot of those surgeries, and worse. If you'd been shot 6 or 7 times in the abdomen, even if you'd even been shot, with shrapnel in the abdomen, they did the same kind of surgery on you. They did the same things to thousands of men that lived through the war. He used that for drugs, he used it for sympathy, and he used it to try to do things like spend hours and hours in the bathroom. He developed a binge purge thing. He would stuff, he was sure that somebody was going to get his food, I think. He guarded it like a dog. Shoveled it in his mouth in a madness. He would not bathe. He would not. He would be forced to bathe once a week. He would not wear clean clothes. He was a mess, and he wanted everybody else to live that way. He wanted to live the old hill people, white trash ways of West Virginia. He didn't want to come out of those hills, and he was determined that he was going to wrench and wrest everybody around him back into that way of life. He fought me and my mother at every turn to try to be civilized. Whether it was bathing, brushing your teeth, anything and everything, even education. I was a gifted child, and he fought every attempt for me to get an education that there ever was. Every time, all I heard, like some insane thing like Golem in the movie The Lord of the Rings. I'd hear my dad over there, he can't be more than me. He can't ever be more than me. He can't be more than me. God can't let him be more than me. He can't let him be more than me. Son ain't allowed to be more than his father. Son ain't allowed to be more than his father. And then he'd go into, Mom told me I was Musha. Mom told me I was Musha. I'm Moses, not Ronnie. I'm Moses, not him. I'm the one who runs the congregation. I'm the one over the people, not him. It's not him, it's me. I'm Lord, I'm the one with I'm the chosen one, not him. Oh Lord, give me your holy anointment. And then he'd go again. And he would be over someplace mumbling for 10 minutes. Now this went on for 45 years of my life. Till he finally died. He died hating me because I was obviously the thing that had ruined his opportunities, and he was never to be a preacher. God must have taken the anointment for the sinful lust to have me instead of eunuch himself for Jesus preaching. That is the kind of damned insanity that the Church of Christ is. There is nothing in anybody's life but their damn church, and bringing money into their damn church, and putting money into the hands of the founding family of that damn church. And I mean, it is a damned church. It is damned in every respect. They use divination. They sit there staring off in space and letting the demons tell them all sorts of things. And they preach it. That's where they get their ideas that they are the sole heir to God and Lord over this planet. In the early 50s, a man named Victor Paul Wherewell challenged them, who was a Church of Christ minister from that area. He was thrown out for it. And he went on to be the founder of one of the most vicious and largest cults outside of the Mormon Church that there ever was, which is the Way International. And they took all these things, and they took speaking in tongues. They took all this stuff, and they took it to an extreme, like Hitler did with Germany. It was, they destroyed the lives of over 5 million people, and literally ruined everything that the Bible ever offered these people. They took the bondage of the Church of Christ and turned it into a whole new thing, because they demanded that these people invite the demons onto them. They said it was the spirit of speaking in tongues that was the spirit that they wanted everybody to believe was holy. Well, I'll tell you what, I spent 2 years around them, and it took me 15 more years to get away from them after they tried to recruit me later in life. They are a sick, malevolent, demented, and violent cult that will twist and mentally disturb anybody that has the unfortunate occurrence to spend much time around them. 10 years, 5 to 10 years in the way international, and it would take you the rest of your life to get away from them. And they are still in business today. They are still multi-millionaires for it. They are out of New Knoxville, Ohio, just west of Dayton. And they are the epitome of the pit of hell. They are one of the worst indoctrination cults and bondage ministry situations that you could ever think of. They specialize in people that they think that they can manipulate to turn the girls and some of the boys into concubines for them, to send back out after about 8 weeks of indoctrination. They send them back out to recruit, you know, a lot of them by prostitution. And then as soon as they bring people back in, they're handed off to handlers in the way international. And they send them back out again. It's a rotating thing, unless, you know, like some of the alcoholic girls, they go out on their own and binge for a while with the Outlaws motorcycle gang and others that are friends of them. Why do I dwell on this? Because these two bastards groups, between the two of them, my dad was one of the original just screwed up messes. But my granddad, the pastor of the original Cedar Avenue Church of Christ, the one that built it with his own hands and paid for it and preached in it, he was also the chaplain at the West Virginia State Prison in Moundsville, West Virginia. He was the one that knew about the Black Mass Chapel, the satanic church they had and operated on the 3rd story, that the warden let them have to keep them peaceful, he thought. He also knew about what they called the honey hole in the basement, where the guards didn't even go, where the worst of the worst prisoners took anybody they wanted to rape them, kill them, torture them, or whatever they wanted to do with them. And the guards let them do this, and my granddad let them do it, to keep the peace and keep their paychecks. Until I was about 11 or 12 years old when I asked my granddad about it. He flew into a rage, and I said, how can you be a preacher and then do that too? And he flew into a rage and told me, that was fine, you're right, I can't be. I'll tell them tomorrow that I want to get something done about it. And he was right, they fired him. My dad, again, beat me. And for the rest of my life, any money that I ever got, any significant money, went to my grandparents. My dad would strip it from me as fast as I got it, to give it to his beloved mother and dad, because I had cost them their living. I didn't need to open my darn mouth about their secrets. And in the meantime, the Church of Christ, Cedar Street, voted them out as pastors. Again, of course, which was my fault, because I had been labeled as Satan's attack on their holy, holy, holy ministry. There's hours and hours more. But the biggest part of this is that the demons hitched a ride on the Way International, and Way International promoted all of this out through 30 states, probably about 45 states so far, and 30 other countries. And their viciousness, their twisted mentality, and their spirit mess went right along with it. They are totally demented, and anybody in the hierarchy of Way International has been indoctrinated at a bonfire ceremony with monks' robes, and they are all required to start using the young people of the congregation as their concubines. It's kind of like in the drug lord community, you have to go out and kill somebody before you can be part of the inner circle, because you got to prove yourself, but also they've always got that on you, so that if they don't like you anymore, then they can charge you with it, as though, you know, they all union up and they are millionaires. So who's going to believe you if they all turn against you? Who's going to go up against 30 millionaires of the inner circle of a multinational ministry? And they buy off anybody and everybody. They use bribery, they use witchcraft, they use prostitutes, they use whoever, whatever it takes to make themselves billions of dollars and make themselves a power in the church. I'll wrap up by saying, in 1991, L. Craig Martindale, who has since been deposed as head of the Way International, trained and sent out 22,000 people of his Way Corps, C-O-R-P-S, his Marine Corps of the Way International. He sent them out as couples, 11,000 couples, all across the United States and some other countries like England, to develop the existing church into their own philosophy, to propagate speaking in tongues, the manifestation of spirits, the words be spirits, magic, and the operating your believing, witchcraft, to propagate that out with the spirits all over the world, to elicit and ruin every Christian church there was in the 90s and ongoing, with the philosophy to either turn them to the way belief and indoctrinate them, that tongues rule the people. In other words, the spirits will tell you what to pray, and you let them speak through you in blah, 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 blah bullshit. You let them take you over, which is, if you want to see an example of it, look at the blacks in Pythonism in West Africa. They meet quarterly so the spirits can take them over and talk to them and tell them what they want them to do for the next quarter. It's a mania. It's insane. It's demonic possession on a wholesale basis. So, not only did they spread a virus all through the United States and 30 other countries of a mania of like rabies of this damn stuff, but they also brought to bear some of their best taught hardcore waycore, as they call them, to either turn the churches, and they meant for them to become like sleeper cells, to become nice standing members of every church on this planet, and even the Jewish believing people, you know, the Jewish believers with Jesus, to turn every one of them or bring them down. Turn them or destroy them was the agenda of L. Craig Martindale. He later got caught sleeping with his secretary, which was the how many hundred it was, but his wife couldn't take it anymore. Finally, she threw him out. Short story. They are a cult. They are a secret society. They are far more secretive than Islam. They are far more dangerous than Mormon or Islam or anybody. They are an arm of Satan, led by an angel called Jesus, who has told them that they are the vanguard of the second coming, with power to judge mankind and power to pronounce life and death on people, and that they are holy, 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 and above mankind, like my dad used to scream, "Oh, holy, holy, holy." If they knew how holy I was, they'd praise my name. And the way international leaders sit around and say that to each other. Oh, if they knew how holy we were, they'd praise our name for this. They would. They would. They're just natural brute beasts who know not God. Yes, they are. Oh yes, they are. Oh yes, they are. And this insane, vile mess has propagated itself all over the United States. Now there is no more of the fact that Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is the preacher. By the Jesus in him, by the Spirit he carries, on and on and on crap. You know, if you say a prayer they don't like, they have an answer of the holy man of God, and they have that person dealt with. Either by man or by spirit, you'll be brought into subjection as servant to the apostle. Servant at the feet of the holy man of God to bring him silver platter offerings, and that's how your life will be spent, and that's all there is. Your glories will be in heaven, you shall unit servant here. On and on and on and on with the mad dog dogma. It's like the Third Reich trying to rise a Fourth Reich. And in fact, those people outside Dayton, Ohio, are Germans. A high pronounced population of Germans. And it's where the German scientists were brought to Wright-Patterson in Dayton, Ohio. That's where they were brought at the end of the war. And they admitted they brought all their demonic friends with them when they came there. So it is not an unusual thing that that part of the United States is so wickedly polluted with satanic spirits and, quote, aliens, unquote, operating in other dimensions that we can't see, that it is a black hole. Psychics even talk about the area, where Pennsylvania, Ohio, and West Virginia come together. If you take that as a center point and go 75 to 100-mile radius, that is considered no man's land. That nobody with any good sense wants to be there. No matter if you're a hardened criminal, a witch, a preacher, doesn't matter who or what you are. The psychics say they won't even try to go there. They won't even try to live there. That is how bad. And now, apparently, a lot of Pittsburgh has been taken over by India people. Totally heathen. Completely heathen. And the Illuminati lists Pittsburgh as its number 5 producing state out of its top 30. Number 5 city for the Illuminati. The Luciferian movement. Strangely, number 11 is Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But anyhow, wrapping up this story, before you get indoctrinated into anything, if they try to change the Bible around, eliminate the Bible you see in front of you, or start playing with your head about the man of God is the patriarch, damn that crap. The man of God is no patriarch. He is not Lord. He is not head of the household. He is nothing but somebody trying to be smarter than you and trying to be arrogant enough or possessed enough to play God. If he's a righteous man, he's trying to lead you into the things of proper teaching of this book right here in front of you. And that's all he's doing. He is a teacher from God, and that's what he teaches you about, is God, not himself. Anything else is a God-damned, check Galatians 1:8 and 9, a God-damned lie, period. The demonic realm is on a binge to overturn this book, to run and rule your prayers, to demand that they do the praying and you do the baying, and that they run your life to the purposes of their own ends. And I say, damn what they like and damn what they want. Period. Damn what those bastards are desirous of in their old talk religion. Damn what the politicers want. Damn what the Arabs and the oil people want. Damn what the Jews want in their covert works. They have the same kind of covert works going through the church right now as Way International does. Trying to keep Israel safe. Crap. They're Antichrist. So don't listen to it. Think about it. If it doesn't agree with this book, then to hell with it, because that's where it came from. Just send it right back there. And if somebody wants to give you a line of crap and teach you something that doesn't line up with here, to hell with them. The book is never going to be rewritten. That's a lie from hell too. There is no new revelation about it. None. Period. God does not change. Neither does Jesus. If it does change, it's the lie of a dirty bastard like Isa, the prophet of Islam, who's going to come here and tell us all that Jesus was a lie and undo all the teachings and stuff. On that, I will part for the evening. Thank you. Thanks for your time. God bless you all, and I thank Jehovah God in the name of Jesus Christ. You stick with this book and damn the rest. Period.